Hello, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of What in the World is Going On. I am your host, Brad Hurst. If you have been with us, we have been looking at a specific passage in Scripture, 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 1 through 4. In that passage, we see a statement that concerning the day of the Lord and our gathering together unto him, that day will not take place until there comes a falling away first, and the man of sin be revealed. Our first video, we talked about the issue of the great apostasy, and I think it's pretty clear for everyone to see that it is underway. With regard to the man of sin, we've been spending the last 2 or 3 videos talking about the man of sin and what we might be looking for and where we might be looking for him. If you were with us last week, we were in the book of Daniel. In the week before that, we we're also in the book of Daniel, but in the previous week, we were in several chapters of the Bible. We are in Isaiah 14, Ezekiel 28, and other passages as well. I would encourage you to go back and look at those videos and kind of bring you up to speed on where we're at right now. We're going to be looking at a lot of news articles, all right? And so I want you to kind of strap in and just hang on, as we're going to look at a lot of different news articles, and we're going to try to sort of kind of tie it in all at the end. So with this, our first slide, I just want us to see where we've been so far. These are verses that I think that tell us that maybe certain things are already underway and or are in place. We see this in Daniel 11:37. No regard for women. We see Daniel 11:38, the God of fortresses. We see Daniel 11:21 through 45, Egyptian adversary. We see Daniel 11:27, the meeting at the table. Daniel 11:43, with the lions of Ethiopia and Egypt. Those passages of Scripture, if they're not already in place, are underway. What we have is what's called yet to occur, and that is the claiming to be God and seated in the temple. We see these statements in Ezekiel 28, verses 1 through 2 and verse 9, Daniel 11:45, and 2 Thessalonians 2, 1 through 4. So we are looking at those verses, and we're trying to determine what it is that we're actually seeing. So we've been focusing on the state of Turkey. I think that's the area of interest that we should be looking at, and who or where the man of sin, the Antichrist, little horn, king of the north, is most likely going to come out of. Before we continue, I just want to do a little bit brief history on the modern state of Turkey to help and then bring us up to speed with where we're at today. After World War I, Turkey had been defeated, the Ottoman Empire had collapsed, and the Allied forces occupied Turkey, and there was an intent to actually break it up even further than what had already been reduced to. But there was a Turkish resistance headed by a guy by the name of Mustafa Ataturk, who was successful in driving out the Allies and helping to establish what is now the modern state of Turkey. Remember, it used to be the Ottoman Empire, but it's been reduced to the modern state of Turkey. So, but having driven out the Allies, he recognized that the seat of power had now shifted to the West, and he wanted to align himself with the Western democracies. And so doing that, he set up a democratic system where the leaders would be elected democratically. And he did something that had never been done before from the Ottoman perspective. And what he did was that he separated religion from politics. In other words, political Islam was banished. All right, and that was basically the end of Islam, both in Iran and also in Turkey as well. So political Islam had been banished. There was the state was going to be a completely secular state. The army, or should I say, the military, the judiciary, the parliament, education, anything that was run by the state was going to be totally secular, and religion was to be relegated to basically the individual. But aside from that, one thing he did do is he set up an organization called the Diyanet, and that was the Office of Religious Affairs, and it occupied a very low position within the government structure. All right, that continued to be the case until just recently, and in the last 20 years, we begin to see a shift away from this secular state to a more political Islamic state. And the Diyanet itself is one of the agencies that has seen that shift. In particular, one of the things that we find out about the Diyanet is that since about 2005, it has grown in terms of influence in the affairs of the state. If you remember, right around 2005 is when President Erdogan had been elected prime minister and later on had been elected president. And he has slowly, well, actually not so slowly, but he's kind of like in a quick fashion is moving the Diyanet up in terms of the importance that role that it plays in the state of Turkey. And what's interesting is you see this article in what's called DW.com, Made for Minds, 9/20/2019. This is regarding the Diyanet, the Turkish religious authority that makes millions. Turkey's highest religious authority brings in huge profits, say experts. Critics argue that such profiteering is not in line with Islam. All right, so this is a giant money-making organization. This same article continues here. It says the state institution employs over 107,000 people and manages hundreds of similar projects in Turkey and abroad. Sarcastically dubbed Diyanet Holding, critics warn that the religious authority will soon be indistinguishable from a multinational conglomerate. According to the Diyanet's website, its budget is the equivalent of 825 million lira, that's $900 million, a sum that far exceeds the budget of most ministries. The Turkish Statistics Institute, TUIK, believes that figure to be almost double that, estimating that the 2019 budget is around 1.7 billion lira or $1.87 billion. The Diyanet's global presence is far-reaching. This has just been in the last 20 years or so that we've seen this change in the impact of the Diyanet. This is an article that comes to us out of Armenian Weekly, and this is kind of alarming for us as Americans and as from the international community. It says genocide deniers pumping new campaign cash into Erdogan's congressional allies. It's 9/13/21, so this is a fairly recent article. Originally purely an internal religious ministry, the Diyanet has morphed into the Erdogan government's international influence operation, operating in many countries as a propaganda tool. An unreliable country that harms U.S. national interests, violates basic human rights, and targets our allies like the Kurds, Israelis, Greeks, Armenians, and many more. Ironically, the Turkish government uses its state-sponsored media to push anti-American propaganda daily in Turkey. And listen to this, all right? As we got this video running in the background, listen to this. And in May 2017, pro-Erdogan supporters and Erdogan's personal bodyguards openly attacked a crowd of peaceful protesters on American soil in Washington, D.C. And may I add that nothing was done, all right? This is the power that the Diyanet has over our own government, right? That these guys can come in and do this and nothing would be done. Recently, there's been a change in the Diyanet, and we have the election of this man right here. His name is Ali Erbas. He was elected to the presidency of the Diyanet on September 17th, 2017, at the very beginning of the week of the September 23rd event that took place in the sky, okay? So on September 27th, 2017, just before we had the great sign of 2017, September 23rd, 2017, this man has been appointed to the Diyanet as the religious authority, or shall we say the president of the Diyanet. His name is Ali Erbas. He's about 61 years old. He's widely educated, and he's also known to be a financial genius. This is the top religious guy inside of Turkey, the head of the Diyanet. In fact, we have this article here from Al Monitor on May 13th, 2021. We're going to get a lot of stuff out of Al Monitor. May 13th, 2021, Turkey's religious agency grows even richer and more powerful. Turkey's Religious Affairs Directorate has acquired unprecedented influence and budget means under Erdogan, spending more than the foreign and other ministries. Again, with the same article, it says the directorate known as the Diyanet has acquired extensive influence and power unseen since its establishment in 1924, less than a year after the modern secular Turkish Republic was born on the ashes of the Ottoman Empire. With a budget allocation of some 13 billion Turkish lira, that's 1.6 billion this year, the Diyanet ranks 13th among 40 public entities found from the central government budget. In the first quarter of 2021, its spending outstripped that of major ministries such as the foreign, tourism industry, trade, and environment ministries, official data show. The same article continues. It says the agency has a backyard, the Diyanet Foundation, whose activities and influence have been similarly expanding in recent years, drawing mainly on public coffers, exempt from taxes, and free to raise donations without prior authorization since 2005. The foundation has established a television channel and university, along with publishing religious books, building mosques, developing Quranic courses, and building dorms, organizing pilgrimage trips to Mecca, and running commercial activities. Operating commercial enterprises and making real estate investments in various fields in the construction sector. In fact, another article says that they have 2,017 real estate projects. Is what they've got. Again, with Al Monitor in the same article, it says clearly the Diyanet's ambitions transcend Turkey, aiming at a wide-reaching influence across the Muslim world. In a vivid description of this vision, the agency's former head, Mehmet Gormez, said in 2016, the Diyanet has become the Diyanet of all Muslims, not just Turkey's. It has grown into an establishment to which our brothers in Central Asia, the Balkans, Africa, and other regions go for support on religious services and religious education. Since 2006, it has been providing services at 40 locations in Africa and has taken services to 7 million brothers in Latin America, as well as our Muslim brothers in Pacific Asia. I did not even know that there were 7 million Muslims in Latin America. The article continues, according to Saren Lord, this is an important statement, okay? A University of Oxford scholar, against the backdrop of Erdogan's shift to a one-man regime, the Diyanet's standing could increasingly resemble that of the Ottoman Sheikh ul-Islam office, an actor at the heart of state power that was subordinate to the Sultan, but at the same time enjoyed an autonomous space as an Islamic authority. She adds, one could perhaps that the Diyanet is reverting to its roots, but does the Republic need such a Diyanet? So in other words, what you're getting here is you're getting a government within the government that's going to have the same power as, shall we say, the federal head of the state government inside of Turkey. And so you're going to have two co-regents, the presidency of the federal government and the presidency of the Diyanet. Continuing with Al Monitor, the Diyanet has readily embraced Erdogan's pious generations vision. As its head, Ali Erbas, has openly stated, we have to make the best of the opportunities before us to raise a pious generation. The presence of close to 150,000 religious functionaries, hundreds of thousands of Iman Hatip graduates, teachers and students, tens of thousands of theology graduates, lecturers and students, and tens of thousands of instructors and students at Quranic courses, as well as the introduction of elective courses on the Quran and the Prophet's life. In all grades, in primary and secondary schools, those are all great opportunities. Erbas wrote in the Diyanet's monthly magazine, to 2015 when he headed the agency's education department. Again with Al Monitor, but in a separate article, September 8th, 2021, Turkey's powerful top cleric called to tone down or resign. Ever since he delivered the first sermon at the opening of the Hagia Sophia as a mosque in July 2020 with a sword in hand, Ali Erbas has been on a meteoric rise of visibility. Continuing, it says the white-cloaked figure of Erbas standing alongside Erdogan in openings or groundbreaking ceremonies is a familiar sight in Turkey. A day before the opening of the Court of Cassation building, Erbas prayed alongside the President of Defense. Let me start that again. A day before the opening of the Court of Cassation building, Erbas prayed alongside the President, the Defense Minister, and the force commanders in the groundbreaking ceremony of a massive military complex in Ankara. We referenced that military complex last video. On the same day of the judicial ceremony, he accompanied the president to the opening of the Gendarmerie and Coastal Defense Academy, where he extended prayer for the officers who trained there. God, may you make our troops victorious on the ground, at sea, and in air. Protect them in their fight against terrorism, he prayed. Turkey's top cleric also accompanied Erdogan on his visits to the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus on July 19th through the 21st and opened the Bilal Pasha Masjid and Foundation at Varosha, or Maras, as it is called in Turkish, a contentious ghost town that was partly opened by Turkish Cypriots last year. This is seen here in an article. It's called Mem Isita, Turkish Judiciary Calls on Ali Erbas to Tone Down, September 10th, 2021. The figure of the clergyman is gaining more and more importance in Turkey. His closeness to President Erdogan is very important, although little by little he is gaining a significant mass of support independently. It is one of the reasons why some experts believe that Ali Erbas' real goal is to wrest the presidency from Recep Tayyip Erdogan in a timely manner. I don't think that's going to happen, but his strategy does not seem to be too different from that of the Turkish top president, starting from an ultra-conservative Islamic position. This again from Al Monitor, September 8th, 2021. We would expect, now this is a statement made by those who are opposing Erbas. They're very upset that he's starting to stick his nose into almost every aspect of the government structure. And this is what they say. He says, we would expect the Religious Affairs Director to remain within the limits of his office, said CHP Group head Engin Altay. Your guide should be the Quran, not Erdogan. And this is Erdogan's response. Erdogan says an attack against Erbas was an attack against the state. That is a magnanimous statement. That is an incredibly powerful statement. This guy is supposed to be the leader of a agency that is supposed to be completely separate from the state altogether. And now we have Erdogan coming out and saying, you attack him and his agency and you attack the state. That's where we're at. So, one of the things that is kind of interesting about Erbas and Erdogan is that they have undertaken it their, shall we say, prerogative to change things. And Erbas literally changed the date of the birth of Muhammad. Okay, and what Erdogan has done together with Erbas is they have worked in both independently and together at changing the laws inside of Turkey, and even trying to change laws inside the UN to fit Islamic purposes for what it is that they want to accomplish. And we look at this passage of scripture right here, where it tells us that that's exactly what's going to happen. What does it say here? We ask ourselves, is this underway or in place? Daniel 7:25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Well, I mean, changing the birth date of, I mean, how do you do that? You're going to just arbitrarily change the birth date of Muhammad? But in addition to that, every time Erdogan needs to get something done and the law's in his way, he just changes the law. And that's what he does. And it says, and regarding the times and laws, it says, and they shall be given into his hand until a time and times and dividing of time. All right, so is this underway? Is it in place? I don't know. Let's continue. Just look at this photo right here. I mean, this is kind of a powerful photo. You would never have seen something like this in the past, with the directorate, Ali Erbas on the right and Erdogan on the left. Okay, and these two are now basically almost like two heads on the same beast. I hate to say it like that because that's somewhat pejorative, but that's what it seems to be turning out to be here. So you look at this slide right here. This will tell you, this is Professor Dr. Ali Erbas's Facebook page. This is their goal. Their goal is Jerusalem. That is their goal. You would think that their goal would stop at the Hagia Sophia, where they would establish the seat of Islam there, but their goal is to establish the seat of Islam inside of Jerusalem. In fact, we see later on, there's an article with Erdogan found on 10/3/2020 in the Times of Israel, where he says, Jerusalem is our city, Turkey's Erdogan declares. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan on Thursday implied that Jerusalem belongs to Turkey, referring to the Ottoman Empire's control over the city for much of the modern era. And what's interesting is that he said that prior to the construction and they're praying towards Mecca, they actually prayed towards Jerusalem. And it's the goal of both Erdogan and Erbas to make Jerusalem their seat, the seat of Islam. That's their goal. So just let's have a look at this right here, Revelation chapter 13. I'm just going to read through this, okay? It says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them that which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doth great wonders, so that he makes fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And he deceives them that dwell on the face of the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had a wound by the sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive the mark in their hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today, but we have to ask ourselves, where are we? I mean, what's going on here? Are we looking at the beast and the false prophet? I mean, I'm pretty close to, almost checking that one off, but I'm just going to wait for a little bit to see what happens and what's going on. But one question I have is, don't get me wrong with this. I think these guys are actually believers and they're sincere, but where are the celebrity Bible prophecy teachers? I mean, where's Jack Hibbs? Where's Amir Sarfati? Where's Jan Markell? Where's J.D. Farag or Don Stewart or the seminaries? Where are these people? I mean, look at this. If we had something like this and the Pope and I was out there, saying, oh, no, it's going to be over here or whatever. I mean, you take this together with what we've seen in the last 2 or 3 videos that we've done with the great apostasy, You look at the article that I wrote regarding the rise of the 10 nations, or the article I wrote that's called In the Days of These Kings. You can get a link for that down below. Just go through and look at that. And you look at the history of Islam and how it developed into two different separate entities, and eventually it was broken up into 10 states. And now look at where we're at right now. I just be honest with you, it just boggles my mind that people can be so drunk on their celebrity with their radio, interviews, their television interviews, and their seminars and their books, that they can't take time to step back and look and say, hey, we need to make not just an adjustment, we need to kind of start looking in a different direction. So, all right, that's all we've got time for today. I hope this has been a blessing to you. Please be sure to hit that subscribe button down in the lower right-hand corner of this YouTube presentation or this video. And until our next time, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and may the Lord watch over you. Thank you so much. Have a good day.